What's up, everybody? This is another episode of Sports-REUBEN-LIFE. I'm coming at you right here. I'm gonna jump right into it. And this is MMA Fight Week. We're just gonna talk all MMA. What we're having this week in December 7th is UFC Fight Night. Overeem versus Rozenstruik, right? And so these are two heavyweights, 6'4", 246, 6'4", 240. It's going to be a tremendous fight card. I'm not even talking about UFC 245 and all the other stuff that I want to talk about in UFC. All those videos are going to be coming soon. But this is what's happening this weekend, right? Of course, you have the Andy Ruiz 2 fight. That's going to be coming, but we're just going to talk MMA for right now, right? So then in this fight card, you have Marina Rodriguez, 12-0 undefeated versus Cynthia Calvillo. They're both, they're good fighters. It's going to be an interesting fight, right? Then you have Stefan Struve, another heavyweight, versus Ben Rothwell, both veterans of the UFC, both people that have been in the game. And here's what UFC and ESPN are doing really well here. The main card is a heavyweight fight, so they got all these standby people, so that way the card doesn't disappear, because there have been times where the UFC has canceled a complete fight card because they didn't have any backup fights. So I think that what they do in all these undercards now is they're having solid backups, right? They have solid backups so that way they can continue and the show could keep on going on. I think that's a big deal because of the fact that, one, these are now being promoted by ESPN, and they need to up the consistency level with this whole deal, right? So I think that that's kind of where you're seeing the thought process behind all these undercards, right? Then you have, this is, you have Thiago Alves versus Tim Means in the prelims, right? That's the ESPN Plus part of the card, right? That's a great fight, right? So you have all these good name fighters that are in this card here. This is happening this weekend, but then the next weekend you have UFC 245, which has got a stacked card, right? So even this fight night is still have some good fights going on, right? But let's just talk about the main event, right? You got Alistair Overeem, who has 62 professional fights. This guy has 62 professional fights, and the thing with him is that it seems like he has a hard time having a win streak, right? Like, in other words, like, he wins 2, loses 3, loses 2, wins 3. So, like, since 2011, right, he won 2, lost 1, won 4, fought for the belt, fought Stipe Miocic for the belt, lost the belt, lost in the first round via knockout, right? Fought Mark Hunt, Fabricio Verdun, beat them, lost to Nagano, Kurt Bayless, Pavlovich, right? I mean, he beat Pavlovich, and then he went to a draw against Pavlovich, and then, well, actually, that was a win, turned into a draw. And then now he's fighting, then he beat Olenek, right? And so Alistair's career, it's like he gets to the mountaintop, but then he struggles to stay there. He has publicly stated that he just likes fighting. He likes doing it. And so, his 62 fights might be the most in a UFC roster right now, that somebody's on the UFC roster. That's a lot of punishment, a lot of wins, a lot of losses. The fact that he's got 17 losses tells you that he's just in it to be in it. He's a very entertaining fighter. He fits the bill as what we would think about as a stereotypical UFC heavyweight, right? He's built. He just, for some reason, he gets caught with good punches and he can dish it out. So he has knockouts. He's very impressive, but it's like, he's got to string some more wins together. And so if he beats this guy that he's going to fight this Saturday, then maybe he's on his way, right? Rozenstruik, right? Let's look at that guy. That guy's undefeated, right? And so he's had 3 fights in the UFC. He's won them all, right? He's beat Andrei Arlovski, Crowder, and Albini, right? And so he fought. This is this guy's 4th fight in the UFC, right? This is his 4th fight this year in the UFC. This guy has come out, right? And so the thing with him, right, is when you look at the number of fights, you say, well, that's a lot of ring time, that's a lot of preparation. Yes, it's true, right? But the last 3 fights, the last fight was in round 1, right? Basically just the first round. He knocked the guy out. He knocked out another guy, similar, Crowder, in the first round. So that's only basically 2 rounds of fight experience in those 2 fights, right? And then the first time he fought in the UFC, it only went to the end of the second round. So in total, he has 4 rounds. So that's 20 minutes of UFC experience. So I think in this fight, the difference is, for Overeem, he has experience, he has knowledge, he's been there before, this is nothing new to him. That's his benefit, right? But then at the same token, he's a lot older than this guy, right? So Overeem, he's pushing 40 years old. He'll be 40 years old next year. And so, Father Time's going to catch up on him, right? So, you know, his age, I'm sure he slowed down a little bit, so he's got to be a little more crafty. The way he fights this guy's 31 years old, he's 9-0. He's a young cat, he's up and coming. This is his 4th time fighting this year, so obviously he's game to get in there, right? And so, how does Overeem beat him? He's got to slow the guy down, and he's got to use some of his experience and tricks to kind of get this guy in a bad spot and maybe pick and choose where he takes his shots, right? And so is he going to have more energy or cardio than him? We don't know this, right? So this other guy looks pretty built. He looks like he's physically going to be in shape. He doesn't look like he's going to be out of shape. 6'4", 246, you know, 78-inch reach, which is not that far off from Overeem's 80-inch reach, right? And so that fight, I want to say it's going to go to Overeem. I don't think this guy's ready for the level of experience he has. This guy has 9 professional fights. And like I said, the last 3 fights in the UFC, Rozenstruik, you know, he finished his guys pretty handily, but like there's a big difference. There's a jump, right? Andre Arlovski is at the tail end of his career, and so he knocked him out in the first round. And so it would have been interesting if he can go more rounds with Arlovski, because Arlovski has 57 fights, right? So he's fighting a similar guy, and Arlovski is over 40 years old, right? So Arlovski's not a young cat. He's 40. He's going to be 41 in 2 months, right? And so he's fighting another KG veteran. So the question is, can Rozenstruik, can he do what he did to Arlovski? I don't know if that's going to be possible, you know, but Overeem has 62 fights. So anyways, that's my take on, this is another MMA. This is Fight Week. We're going to be talking UFC all week here. So if you like this video, thumbs up, like, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think about this fight night. Fight night is, you know, it's going to be this weekend. I'm probably going to do a post-fight on all this and how these fights all turned out. So there's some good fights. The Steven Strofe, Ben Rothwell, another heavyweight battle. Those guys are UFC veterans, so they got some experience. So that should be a more calculated fight when you look at everything, okay? All right, bye.